Each Matrix film is filled with multiple philosophical approaches that lead us to doubt our existence. Who am I? How do I know what is real? Is there a purpose to my existence? These are only some of the questions that has been asked throughout history. In this video, we're going to be discussing what existential questions we might see in Matrix 4. Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
To understand what could be Matrix 4's philosophy, first we need to analyze what the previous trilogy was about. In the first movie, The Matrix, part of its premise was a fundamental question. What is the Matrix?
It's the question that drives us here. It's the question that brought you here. You know the question, just as I did.
What is the Matrix?
The Matrix?
Do you want to know what it is?
However, the question of what is the Matrix was just the disguise of an even deeper question. Faced with the answer that the Matrix is a simulation, we asked ourselves, how do I know that reality is real and not my senses being deceived? The fundamental question of the Matrix is, how do I know that reality is real and not a mere illusion? This question was presented in Plato's cave and later in Descartes' evil genie hypotheses. How do I know that what I see is real? How could I know that there is not another person tricking me? At the end of the Matrix, we thought that this question was answered. Neo became the one. He could see the Matrix and its code. No one can fool him anymore. He was the savior. But the further we got into the Matrix, the quicker we realized that the Matrix was only scratching the surface. Matrix Reloaded reinforces this theme. Although Neo thought that he had already discovered the truth, he came across the revelation that everything he thought was the truth was a lie. The prophecies of the Savior, the last human city, etc. It had all been planned by the architect to keep any anomaly at bay, especially the integral anomaly.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
The movie reinforces the idea of how can we know that we are in control of our destiny and it's not being controlled by another party. In Matrix Reloaded, Neo comes out of the Matrix again, but not in a literal way, but rather a spiritual way. This time Neo is not disconnected from the cables, but disconnected from the illusion of freedom. Even the most faithful of all, Morpheus, faced an existential crisis after Neo revealed that the prophecy was a lie. The issue of what is real is relevant again. Reloaded showed us that there are not only literal simulations like the Matrix, but there can be psychological or mental simulations, control systems that makes us live in hyper-reality, thinking that we are fulfilling a purpose and making decisions. But in reality, we are being controlled. This brings us to Matrix Revolutions. Matrix 1 and 2 were deconstructed. Our perceptions of the fate of Neo and the rest of the Red Pills were radically changed. The Matrix warned us not to trust our senses. Matrix Reloaded confirmed this by showing us that everything, including Zion, was a lie. Revolutions tried to reconcile the stories of 1 and 2, solving mysteries such as free will, destiny, freedom, and above all, reality. The answer comes with Neo's confrontation with Smith. Neo understands that he must live in the present. He allowed himself to be assimilated by Smith so that Deus Ex Machina can destroy the former agent from the Matrix and bring peace. But the original doubt remains. Did Neo manage to become the prophesied Messiah, or did he simply fulfill the objectives of the Oracle? Did he follow his chosen path, or was he simply doing what the architect expected of him? After the trilogy concluded, it made us reflect on the central idea of the first movie. How do I know that reality is real and not my senses being deceived? Just as the trilogy based its narrative on this question, Matrix 4 will continue the same path, and this was revealed in the trailer's description. The description mentions that Thomas Anderson is seen a therapist. He lives like any ordinary person, but wonders about his reality. Thomas does not remember that he was a Neo, but he knows that something is not right with the world. The themes of Plato's cave, Descartes' evil genie, or Baudrillard's simulations returns, however perhaps with a different approach. Neo, or Thomas, is observing people glued to their smartphones, stuck in social media. Social networks are examples of hyperrealities which simulate real life, generating new simulations. The issue of if what we see is true or not has been spread by influencers, fashionistas, artists, and celebrities who have created completely alternate and false lives on social media. The trap of smart devices is that they make their users dependent on the system, just as the Matrix had envisioned 20 years ago. If Neo doesn't remember who he was, is he a different person? The description of the trailer leads us to believe that the question of what is real does not have an answer. We are always prone to living in simulations. Rather, they are fictitious like the Matrix, or real like social media, fundamentalisms, or dogmas. The fact that the Matrix continues to address this issue is a clear example that it has not lost its essence, and that today, more than ever, there is a need to address the issue of what is real. We are constantly surrounded by false information that seeks to manipulate us and create an alternate reality to the one we live in. Faced with the crises of today and so much erroneous or controlled information, we wonder if what we believe to be real is nothing more than traces of an empty reality, that which Baudrillard and Morpheus called the desert of the real. Expectations for Matrix 4 are higher than ever because the Matrix functions as a mirror of ourselves. But do you agree? Do you believe that the trailer description suggests that Matrix Resurrections will continue with the classic question of what is real? For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe, and thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.